everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is the first video of mine that you are seeing. And if you are new here, my name is Julia Kelsey. I'm 25 years old and I live in Orlando, Florida, and I have a budgeting and money management coaching business that I originally started on Instagram but have somewhat recently moved over to YouTube as well. And this is where I show and share with others that budgeting and money management can be simple and actually enjoyable and help them get to a place where they are easily accomplishing their financial goals while still being able to live a life that they enjoy. So today's video is going to be another budget with me video, and this one is going to be a recap for the month of February. So a couple weeks ago, I walked you through my February budget and kind of what I expected the month to look like. And in this video, I'm going to show you what actually happened, show you my actual income, actual expenses, and where there may have been some differences and why those differences happened. And like always, today I will be showing you my budgeting spreadsheet and template. And if you like this template and think it might work for you, I do sell them individually on my website for just $10. And that includes the template I'm showing you today, the sinking fund summary, as well as a bunch of other trackers. So if you are interested in that, I will leave the link in the description, and all of my templates are always included in any of my coaching packages as well. So let's jump right in and see what we were able to accomplish in the month of February. So like always, we will start with my income for the month. So we can see that my expected income going into the month was $4,100. And I've blocked out the individual components, but that is the total. And we can see that the actual income that came in was $4,121. So just a slight difference, just $20 more than I expected. And then moving right along to my expenses, starting with my fixed expenses, so the ones that really don't change much month to month. And I'm gonna run through these pretty quickly because a lot of them came out just as expected. So the first one is my rent. That came out as my normal $1,585. And then the next one is my car payment, which is just a little bit under $303. That came out as expected, as well as my Wi-Fi came out as $34.99. My gym membership, which is just like a basic Crunch membership, came out as $10.60 as expected. My Orange Theory Fitness membership was a little bit higher than I expected, and this is basically just because I can't count. And my membership is only supposed to be 8 classes a month, and somehow I signed myself up for 9. So I paid a little bit extra for that additional class. So instead of the $99 that usually is, it came out to be $117. So that was one difference. And then the next one is a couple business subscriptions. So this is like my Canva subscription and then my website renewal. So that came out as normal at $58.99. And then just a couple more subscriptions. The next one is Amazon Music, came out as normal at $5.65. And the next is Hulu, which is basically like my cable. I have the live version of this, came out as expected at $79.76. iTunes, which is basically just extra storage on my phone, came out at $2.99. And then this next one is one that does vary just a little bit month to month because it is utilities, so it's going to be based off what I use. But I do usually have a good estimate of what this is going to be. So we can see I had estimated about $150 and $146 was the actual bill. So just a slight difference there. And then lastly is my insurance, which mainly is my car insurance, but then a little bit of this is also renter's insurance. So that came out as expected. So those are all of my fixed expenses, really not a lot of difference there, which is to be expected. So then the next section is my variable expenses. So these are the ones that are going to fluctuate quite a bit more month to month because this is where you're doing most of your daily spending. So the first one is my eating out category, and this one I'm actually really happy with how it turned out because in February it was the first month where I went from doing $50 a week for eating out to just $40 a week. So I was bringing it back a little bit, and I knew going in that this was definitely something I would be able to do, but it was nice to see that I was actually able to easily stick to this and came in under budget. So I had budgeted $160 for the month and came in at basically $157. So right on track, just slightly under budget, which is great for the first month after making a change. And then the next one is my auto category. So this is basically gas, but then also can include tolls if I have to pay any. And this one definitely did not go as well as eating out. So for the past year, if not more, I have been spending very little in this category because I was working from home, not really driving, so not really having to spend anything on gas. And since starting working for myself and then also picking up a couple of side hustles that require me to drive, it should have clicked for me that I would need to increase this budget. However, that just didn't happen in the month of February. So I had only budgeted $20 for February and ended up spending a bit more than that. So I ended up spending $35. So not too terribly bad. And it was good that this was kind of like a starter month to show me that, hey, I need to increase this budget. And I can go into March with a much better estimate and budget for that category now that my habits have changed. And then the next one is my grocery category, and this one I had also made a little bit of a change with. So that money that I was saving from lowering my eating out budget, I put a little bit of that towards this grocery budget because I had noticed that I was spending a lot more on groceries. So I had budgeted $270 for the month and ended up spending $272. So just slightly over budget, which I easily made up by being under and eating out, so not a problem at all. And again, I'm happy with how well I was able to stick to this budget with it being the first month that I made a change to it. So happy with how that category turned out as well. And then the last one is just my miscellaneous category. So this is really for anything that doesn't fit easily into those other 3 categories. So it kind of just accumulates all of those little expenses that pop up throughout the month. So I normally do $50 a month for this, and I ended up spending $46. So again, under budget and right on track. And then I do have another line item here for my cushion. So this is basically my checking account cushion, the money I have sitting in my account just in case bills come out early or more than expected. It's just a little bit of a buffer that I have. And normally if I have just $1 or $2 left over at the end of the month, I will put it here to add to that buffer. So that's what this $2 is. It was just a little bit that I had left over that I'm going to put towards that buffer. So in total for all of my expenses, I had estimated that it would be about $2,963. And in actuality, my expenses came out to be $2,989. So I was a bit over budget. I spent about $25 more than expected. However, remember that I had $20 of more income come in than I expected. So most of that will even out, and then I will make up that other $5 within my sinking funds that I will show you. So like I just mentioned, the next section is my sinking fund section. So these are the mini savings that I have each month where I'm setting just a little bit aside so that when a bigger, larger, either unexpected or just unknown expense comes up, I already have the money set aside for those things. And what it's showing right here is the allocation to those sinking funds. So the money I took from my February income and put towards those funds. What's not shown here is what I actually spent and the balances that I have in each of these funds. So I'm actually going to switch over to a sinking funds summary that will show us all of the moving pieces within February within each of my funds. So the first fund is my clothes/beauty. So this is pretty straightforward. Any clothing, skincare, makeup, any purchases like that would come from this fund. So originally I was not budgeting to put anything towards this. I didn't think I would spend anything. However, this is one of the categories where expenses like that might just pop up. So I did end up doing some spending within this category. So I made sure at the end of the month to change my allocations around a little bit to put something towards this so I wasn't going too far negative. So I actually ended up putting $20 towards this fund. And right here you can see my spending. I spent just under $50. So my starting balance at the beginning of February in this fund was about $20, and I'm ending with -10. So not too bad. And remember that I keep all of these funds in the same account. So if a few of them go negative, it is not a big deal. I don't have a negative bank account because the positive ones are counteracting that. So this -10 is not a big deal, and I'll be able to make that positive in the next month or two. And then the next one is my fun category. So this is going to be like entertainment, going out type purchases. And I had budgeted to put $20 towards this fund, and I actually did put that $20. And then I just had $30 in spending, and this was actually just like a varsity TV subscription that I bought so I could watch college cheerleading nationals. So I just put that in the entertainment category. Just a one-time purchase there. So the starting balance had been a -$24, and now we're at -34. So this one is getting a little bit more negative, and we'll want to make sure we take care of that in the next month. And then the next one is my holiday/gifts category. So this is mainly like my Christmas category, where I save up to purchase Christmas presents. And my goal for this one is to have $600 saved by December for Christmas. However, I do also use this category for like birthday gifts, anything like that that might pop up during the year. So if I do end up spending on those little things throughout the year, I do try to replenish that amount just so I can make sure I have that $600 at the end of the year. So my normal goal for this one is just $50 a month. So that is what I did in February. And then I actually spent $27.50, which was actually a donation to a GoFundMe. So that came out of this fund as well. So I started with a -14 in this category. I had a gift come out late in January, had made this a little bit negative. So now we're back to the positive. We have $830 in this category. And then the next one is my household category, which is a very boring category. This is where I normally do like decor, blankets, candles, that type of purchases, which just aren't really a priority. I don't really have a need for any of those things right now. So not much going on in this category. Didn't budget to put anything in there. Didn't actually put anything in there. No spending. So starting in and ending balance are just 0 here. And then the next one is Nico's category. So this is for his vet visits, prescriptions, food, toys, anything like that. Anything for Nico would come out of this category. Budgeted for $70 for the month and actually put $70 in there, and then had to spend $60 to get him groomed. So that came out of this category. So we started with a positive $12 and ended with a positive $22. And then the next one is my car maintenance fund. Again, not very exciting. I do have a decent sized buffer in this category considering that my car is fairly new and I don't expect many repairs or maintenance needed. So I have my buffer of $200 that I started the month in there, didn't have to spend anything, so ended the month with that same $200. And then the next one is my medical category. So this one is really just for any co-pays if I were to go to like urgent care or the doctor or any prescriptions or anything like that. So I just budget $20 a month for this one, and then I actually put that $20 in there, and then I didn't spend anything. So the starting balance was $15 and we ended the month at $35. And then the next one is my tech category. So I mentioned this one before. This category was originally kind of like a safety net for like my phone or my computer if it were to break and I would need to purchase a new one. But I used this category at the end of 2021 to purchase the camera that I'm recording on now. And that purchase did make this sinking fund quite negative. So at the end of the year, I had taken a little bit from my emergency fund to bring this category back up to positive. So what I'm doing now is any money that I put towards this fund is going back to my emergency fund to replenish that amount that I took. So I had originally budgeted $50 to go towards this fund. However, I only ended up putting $25 towards it because I wanted to put a little bit towards my clothes and beauty category, and then I also needed that $5 extra to make up for the increase in expenses that I had. So I only ended up putting $25, and then that $25 was spent, and by spent, it was put back into my emergency fund to replenish the amount that I took a couple months ago. So there is no starting or ending balance here because anything as of right now that goes into this fund gets put back into my emergency fund. And then the last two are just my yearly subscriptions, so bills that come out every month, and I put a little bit towards them each month so that when the whole bill comes out, I'm not scrambling to find that larger amount of money. I already have it set aside. So those two bills are just Amazon Prime, which I do $10 a month for, so I did that here, and nothing was spent because that bill doesn't come out until September. So I started with about $50 in that fund, and now I have about $60. And then the last one is my crunch renewal, so like my yearly renewal for the gym, and I just do $5 a month for that one, and I actually did spend in this category. That bill did actually come out, which is $52.19. So you can see my spending here for that, and you can see my starting balance was about $48, and now it's less than $1 because I spent that money set aside. So this is exactly the idea of the sinking fund. I had that entire amount already set aside, the bill came out, and I had the money available to pay it, and now we just start over for the next one. So in total, I had expected to put $225 towards my sinking funds, and I actually ended up only putting $220, which again is that $5 for my overspending and expenses, and I spent $245. So my overall balance did go down just a little bit. We started at $306 and we went down to $282. So not too much of a difference and pretty consistent with my normal spending. I do want to see this going up in the next couple of months, but nothing too bad. We still have a really good buffer going here. And now just jumping back to finalize the last little bit of my budget. So the next section is my savings section, and the main goal in this category is just my student loan fund, which is basically kind of like a savings account where I accumulate a little bit of extra money month to month, and then I am going to use that money to make extra student loan payments. And unfortunately, I didn't have anything left over at the end of the month to put in this, but any month that I do have anything extra, this is the first place that it will go. And then the last section is my debt section, and this just includes my student loan minimum payment. So my normal $911, which I had budgeted, and that was the amount that actually came out. And then we can see in the overview section, this tells me whether I allocated each of my dollars, and we can see I'm green and I have my zero there. So I know that every dollar that came in was allocated and given a purpose. So that is my entire February budget and how everything turned out for the month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more videos like this from me. Also, make sure you go over and follow me on Instagram so you can see content from me in between YouTube videos. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.